Hello, friends. I'm glad you could join me today. It's been a crazy week with weather and work, and I really haven't had a chance to jump on the motorcycle lately. So I thought I would just share some older footage while talking with you. So I have another question for you. If you could ride with any celebrity on a 4-day motorcycle journey, who would it be and why? Now, let me clarify this question. A celebrity can be anyone at any time in history, big or small, alive or not. They can be in movies, television, news, media, anything. The only criteria, the celebrity has to have been part of the motorcycle scene. Now let me make one more clarification. You don't have to pick people that were in the motorcycle movies. In many cases, they're just actors starring in a movie. Now in my case, as probably yours, it's difficult to come up with just one. But my first choice was reasonably easy, but the second, third, etc. really were close behind. So my first choice, if I could ride with anybody, would be Steve McQueen. For those of you who don't know Steve McQueen, he was the essence of cool in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. Besides being involved in some really great movies, he was a mainstay in the motorcycle scene. If you do some quick research on him, you'll find he was quite the collector of motorcycles, especially Indian motorcycles. I'm particularly fond of his 46 Indian Chief myself. I mean, it's very nice, very cool. If you were to ever look it up, I think you'd really appreciate it. Now, why would I ride with him? Well, he's Steve McQueen. I mean, he's Steve McQueen. That's really the best way to say it. He loved the science of motorcycles, including the customization and the build process, but he also liked to ride them. And I could imagine a 4-day trip of riding and talking motorcycles. I'd even try not to talk about his movies like The Magnificent Seven or The Great Escape. 2 really good films, by the way. And I've had this growing fascination for the last year or two with the cafe racer scene. And for some reason, I always equate Steve McQueen with that particular type of a motorcycle. I'm also partial to Paul Newman for the same reasons. He loved everything about motorcycles and the automotive machinery. And come to think of it, I'd have a hard time choosing between Paul and Steve for riding buddies. That would be one awesome problem to have, wouldn't it? It would be like a motorcycle version of the Vegas Rat Pack. By the way, those guys would be cool to hang out with too. And if I had to round out my top 5, I'd probably start with Ewan McGregor and Charlie Borman. I'm a huge fan of their motorcycle documentaries. They made 2 series. The Long Way Round, where they went from Europe through Asia and wound up in New York, and The Long Way Down, where they took a ride through Europe and wound up in South Africa to the southern tip. I felt that they captured the spirit and adventure and fascination with motorcycles. I would definitely enjoy riding with them. They seem like they were just great guys to hang out with. And interestingly enough, I'd also be interested in riding with Ryan Reynolds, modern day Ryan Reynolds. He's big into the motorcycle scene himself, from what I understand. Can you imagine that one? Talking about motorcycles, laughing and cutting up about Deadpool, Van Wilder, and just everyday life. Now that would be entertaining. And what about Anne Margaret? Again, going back to the 60s and 70s, but she rode a lot with Steve McQueen. And from what I understand, she still does. So she'd be a real interesting lady to ride with. And you know what? I must say that I'd like to ride with my fellow YouTubers someday as well. All of you are celebrities in your own right. The videos you put out show your passion and knowledge for this scene more than anyone. And it's natural and personal. So many wild adventures and stories will come out of that ride. So what about you? What celebrity or celebrities would you most like to accompany on a motorcycle ride? Let me know in the comments. Thank you. Bye now.